Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrutyam Naram Saiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tado Jayamudri Nasta Prayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Devaya Bhagavate Uttamasloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Welcome to Bhagavat Purana, Canto 11, Chapter 2, verse number 25, 26. Tandrustva Surya Sankashan Mahabhagavatan Rupa Yajamano Gnaya Agnayo Vipra Sarvayevo Patastire. Verse number 26. Videhastan Avipretya Narayana Parayanan Prita Sampujayam Chakre Hasanastan Yata Arhataha. Translation, purport given by Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation: My dear King, seeing those pure devotees of the Lord who rival the sun in brilliance, everyone present, the performer of the sacrifice, the Brahmanas, and even sacrificial fires stood in respect. Translation for sloka number 26. King Videha understood that the 9 sages were exalted devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, overjoyed at their auspicious arrival, he offered them suitable sitting places and worshipped them in a proper way, just as one would worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, as we are discussing Srimad Bhagavatam 11th canto, the name of the chapter is Maharaj Nimi meets the 9 Yogendras. So, Maharaj Nimi, the great soul, performed the sacrificial ceremony under the direction of the elevated sages. So, when the 9 Yogendras visited the place where Yagnas, where Maharaj Nimi was performing the Yagna. Maharaj Nimi, as an exalted Vaishnava, received them in a proper etiquette and gave a lot of proper respects to the sages, to the 9 sages, because the 9 sages were pure devotees of the Lord, and they were rivaling like the sun brilliance. Everyone was present, the performer, the sacrifice, the Brahmanas, and even in the sacrifice of fire stood in respect. When the 9 Yogendras come to see, that is the respect we have to render, and that is the etiquette we have to follow. Whenever the great sages come, and whenever the great devotees comes to our place, especially to temples and other to our places also, when people come, when devotees comes, or when great Vaishnavas comes, pure devotees comes, we should give them proper respect, or we should act according to the proper etiquette. So etiquette is very important. So that is why we have a class called Vaishnava Etiquette, and we have also the book called 26 Qualities of a Vaishnava. So the etiquette, if you search under ISKCON Desire Tree, you will get the full material of notes about this etiquette, the Vaishnava etiquette. Even in Bhagavad Gita also, I think it is in 10th chapter, Krishna elaborates the qualities of a Vaishnava, and also in Bhagavatam also in so many sections, Vyasadeva has explained the etiquette, the Vaishnava etiquette. It's very, very important. So there are so many aspects. Example, if you are honoring prasadam, before honoring prasadam, we have to wash our hands, we have to wash our legs, and then take prasadam. And prasadam we should not comment anything about regarding prasadam, because once it is offered to Krishna, there is no difference between Krishna and prasadam. So prasadam means karuna. Like this, there are so many etiquettes are there. So once we enter into the temple, we have to pay obeisance to the Supreme Personality of God, and we have to pay obeisance to our founder Acharya. And once if we see if we happen to have the darshan of great devotees, we have to pay full obeisances, and we have to chant the Vaishnava Pranam mantra, Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya. Like this, there are so many etiquettes are there, not one or two. So in different aspects, in different places, in different angles, different dimensions, have a lot of etiquettes. So like when doing duty, while doing the deity worship, if you are entering into the deity room, we have to ring the bell, or we have to make some sound and enter. That is etiquette. That means, so example, if we are going to some office, some corporate office, or if you are going to some big institutions, we say, "May I come in, sir?" So we take the permission. Similarly, it is Supreme Personality of God. So a lot of respects, 1,000 times, millions times greater than that, we have to give the respect. Greater than the material institutions, we have to give respect to the Supreme Personality of God. So that is why we can see in some temples they keep the bell and they will ring the bell and then they go inside. And so because we are taking the permission from the Supreme Personality of God to enter into the temple. So similarly here also, King Nimi, the Vaishnava, so he gave a lot of respects to the 9 Navayogendras, because in Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says in Guru Ashtakam, in 7th verse, he says that Sakshat Haritena Samastra Sastre Uktastabhavayate eva Sadbin Kinto Prabhurya Priyava Tasya Vande Guru Shri Charanam. Sakshat Haritvena. So whatever the respect we give and whatever the worship we do, we offer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Same worship and same etiquette and same type of respect we have to give to the Vaishnavas also, to his devotees also. So devotees means the pure devotees of the Lord, like Navayogendras. So same respect should be given for them also, because they are not equal to the God, but they are serving. They are so close and they are so intimate to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is why we give a lot of respects to our spiritual masters, a lot of respects to spiritual masters, God brothers, Vaishnavas, pure devotees of the Lord, exalted devotees of the Lord, Santas, Mahatmas, Mahajans. So we give a lot of respects to them, because they are very close to the Supreme Personality of God, and they always engage their mind, senses, limbs of the body, and their consciousness will always be pure, and it is their consciousness is fully filled with the Krishna consciousness, divine consciousness, and they are under the control of supreme divinity. So that is why in Chaitanya Charitamrita also it is stated that even a moment of association of the supreme, of the pure devotees of the Lord, it will promote you to the kingdom of Godhead. Like once there was a king who has one more younger brother who was very adharmic, and he was not at all following the spiritual injunctions and Vedic injunctions. So he was totally breaking all the laws of nature. He was totally breaking all the laws of dharmic principles. So he was so much worried. So once Narada Muni came to his kingdom and he saw the kingdom, his kingdom was very blissful and the king was also very happy. But he came to know, since Narada Muni was an exalted devotee, he knows each and every soul's intention and their mind thoughts and their mind thoughts. So immediately he asked the king, something is lacking with you, something you are worried about. So you are worrying about something. So remaining the part is everything is good in your kingdom, but you have some sort of complication in your mind, some sort of sadness or morose in your mind. What is it? He said. So the king expressed to Narada Muni, my dear sage, Vaishnavas like you only will know the problems of common people like me. So my brother is there, younger brother. He is not at all following any spiritual injunctions. He is not at all following any Vedas. He doesn't study any Shastras. He will not have any satsanga. He will not chant the Supreme Lord's name. He always have bad association. So somehow or other you have to deliver him. So Narada Muni went and Narada Muni told him, you don't worry about it, I will take care of him. So Narada Muni went to his room, went to his place, and he just knocked the door, and he was having, he was fully intoxicated. He said, who are you to come here? Who told you to come here? Just quit the place, he said. So he never even mind that the sage, great sage has come. Then Narada Muni said, yes, okay, I'll quit the place. So before I quit the place, I want to tell you one thing. I want to tell you one thing and then I'll quit the place. So I don't want all your advice and suggestions. Please leave me alone. You don't come to my place. But still Narada Muni, as a token of love, as a token of compassion, he went inside and told him that, my dear boy, please listen to me. I will not live here, I will not stay here for any longer, but before I quit the place, I will tell you one thing. While you are leaving this body, just say one thing, just remember one thing. Sadhu Sange Sarva Sadhrohai, Lavamatra Sadhu Sange Sarva Siddhihai. You just know the meaning of this and then leave the body. Or after leaving the body also, whoever carries you, just chant this sloka, he says. Then Narada Muni went off. So he remembered this somehow or other, that verse made him made him to think about it, and he was just contemplating and meditating on that particular verse. So because of his bad habits, because of his bad association, he was succumbed to death, because he had so many diseases because of intoxication, illicit sex, and gambling, and so many nonsensical things he was doing. So he got diseases, and he was forced to die. So while he was leaving, the Yamadutas came, and for the Yamadutas he chanted this mantra: Sadhu Sange Sarva Siddhahai, Lavamatra Sadhu Sange Sarva Siddhihai. Sadhu Sange Sarva Siddhahai, Lavamatra Sadhu Sange Sarva Siddhihai. You just tell me the meaning of this and then I'll come along with you. So Yamadutas were not knowing about all those things. They carry out the orders of their boss, Mahajan Yamaraj. So they took him to Yamaraj, and they asked Yamaraj, what is the meaning of this? This particular soul is asking. Then Yamaraj also didn't know about all those things. Then Yamaraj took, along with Yamaraj, the soul went to Kailash. And in Kailash also Shiva, they asked Lord Shiva, what is the meaning of this? You can explain, you can just narrate of this. So Shiva also didn't know this. And all of them went to Brahmaloka, Satyaloka. And they asked Brahma, and Brahma also didn't know this. So all of them, all together, they went to Vaikunta, and they raised this, they asked, so Vishnu, the Vaikuntapati was asking, what's auspicious thing today? Everybody has come today. Shiva, Brahma, and Yamaraj, all, and other, who is the soul who has come here? What's his problem? What's the issue? He asked Vaikuntapati, Vishnu, Narayana. So Narayana, and they narrated to Narayana. See, he is asking some verse which we all of us doesn't know about it. Then the Vaikuntapati Narayana told, see, because of his one moment of sadhu's association with Narada Muni, that one moment of association made all of you to made this particular soul to come to this Vaikuntha Loka, because of his sadhu's association. Just a moment of association. So that is why Vaishnava's association is very, very important. So once you go promote to the Vaikuntha Loka, you cannot come back to this material world, which is garbage, is compared to a garbage. So nobody stays near the garbage, and nobody will be happy to live in the garbage, because it is full of miseries, full of havocs, full of disturbances, full of depression, full of stress. Every moment will have danger. So will not have eternal happiness, will not have a pleasure in this material world. Because dukkhalayam ashashvatam, Krishna says, it will, dukkhalayam means it is the place which is filled with miseries. How can you expect happiness here? You cannot stay, you cannot expect happiness. So any moment, any day, you will be, today if you are happy, the next moment you will be forced to face some consequences according to your karmic reactions and according to your different adharmic activities. So it is very difficult to stay in this material world. But that is why we should take the association of devotees, take advantage of all our Hare Krishna centers, take advantage of devotees association, because it is very seldomly you can see the sadhus, the pure sadhus, who have dedicated their lives for the well-being of the conditioned souls, for the well-being of the common people, for the well-being of the people at large. So that is why the devotees association is very precious. It has got a lot of power in it, and it makes really transformation in the heart. So all the impersonalist philosophers claim that every living entity is equal to God. They call step over the heads of their so-called spiritual masters and freely speculate on the nature of the absolute, giving their own whimsical opinions in defense of the impersonal whims of the so-called gurus. In other words, although Mayavadi impersonalists claim that everyone is God, they ultimately show an offensive mentality. So in the second paragraph of this verse, in the purport, Prabhupada is mentioning about the impersonalists who are offenders at the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They are called Mayavadis or Krishna Paradis, they say. Prabhupada says always. So Mayavadis claim that the living entities and God are at the same platform, which is totally controversial and which is totally detrimental to the devotional service of the Lord. So which will not lead at all to the welfare of our Krishna consciousness, welfare of our devotional service. So that is why when we are selecting the spiritual master, we should be very intelligent enough and diligent enough, and we should be very brilliant to choose the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because we should offer intense prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead to send him the pure bona fide spiritual master who comes from the bona fide disciplic succession, like we see in this Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya and other Vaishnava Sampradaya, and also Rudra Sampradaya, Sri Sampradaya and Nimbarka Sampradaya. All these 3-4 Sampradayas are bona fide Sampradayas, where there will not be any interpretations, and there will not be any additions and deletions. They will deliver the message of the personality of Godhead as it is. That's the discrimination we need to do it. So that's what I hear. Prabhupada condemns the Mayavadis who claims that they are also equal to God, because they are offenders at the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, and also they think that Atma and Paramatma are at the same level, so which is really bogus, which is highly condemnable and highly criticizable. So how can we become same on the platform of the Supreme Personality of Godhead? we just cannot imagine about it. So that is why when we are taking the instructions and when we are taking the satsang, we should not take the association of these Mayavadis who impersonalists. They say Supreme Personality of God doesn't have any form. So only if the Supreme has a form, then only we can have this form. Otherwise, we will also be formless. So they claim that Lord is formless and Lord is same as living entity. Lord is same as other living entities also. So they think the Lord is also very very common like us, common living entity like us. So the Mayavadis, they try to concoct and lower the position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They try to do this sort of nonsensical things. But the Vaishnavas, however, welcome the Supreme Personality of Godhead and easily understand that the unlimited Supreme Personality has nothing to do with the conditioned souls. This is a very, very important point. So the Vaishnavas understand the position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and they understand the supremacy of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Like in Narada Muni, so one incident when Narada Muni happened to go to the cobbler. So the cobbler was sitting under the banyan tree, and also Narada Muni saw this cobbler, and before going to cobbler, the Narada Muni goes to the Pandita, the scholar, Vedic scholar. The Vedic scholar welcomes Narada Muni, and he says, "Oh, what Narada Muni? Very happy to see you here. What is our Vaikuntapati? Vaikuntapati is doing in Vaikunta. Can you tell me when you are going to Vaikunta? Just please, when you are going to Vaikunta, just ask our Lord Hari that when I will come to his abode." So Narada Muni, he said, "Okay, when I go to Vaikunta, I'll ask about your recordings, all about your records." And when he goes to, but he will not give any etiquette to Narada Muni. He just immediately he will start communicating with Narada Muni. He will not receive in a proper Vedic way. So when he went to the cobbler, he received Narada Muni in a very traditional, in a very dharmic way and in a very humbler way. And he places on Hasan whatever capacity he has. So Narada Muni sits there, and the cobbler also communicates with Narada Muni, and Narada Muni says, he also asks Narada Muni, when I will come to the Vaikuntha Loka, please ask Lord Hari. So Narada Muni went to Vaikuntha Loka, and he was narrating with Vaikuntha, with Lord Hari, that saying that these two souls are asking when they will come. So before giving this answer, you go and ask them that I will give you one narration, or I will give you one puzzle. So go and tell them that so they also asked what Lord Hari is doing in Vaikuntha. So you go and tell them that Lord Hari is shoving the elephants in the eye of the needle. So trying to push the elephant in the eye of the needle. So you go and tell them to both these souls. So Narada Muni went to Vedic scholar, and he said, Lord Hari told before coming to Vaikuntha, before giving answer to this, he wants some answer for his question. What is that question? That Lord Hari is pushing elephant in the eye of the needle. Then Vedic scholar said, you fool, you Narada Muni, you doesn't know anything about this. You didn't go to Vaikuntha at all. How can the big elephant, huge elephant, gigantic elephant can go into the eye of the needle? It is not at all possible. You just quit from this place. It's not possible at all. So then Narada Muni went to the cobbler, and cobbler he also narrated the same thing. The cobbler said, it is not at all a question for Lord Hari. It's just a cakewalk for Lord Hari. So not only elephant, so he can push so many big gigantic elephants, thousands and thousands of elephants in that eye of the needle. The one elephant is nothing for him, because Lord Hari is omnipotent. He's got a lot of potencies. It is nothing at all. He can create, and also he gives one example. Just by the small seed, if he sow so much big banyan tree as he has created, why not this elephant? He can do wonders. He can do so many miracles. It's not at all like a big issue for Lord Hari, he said. So then Narada Muni went and replied all these answers to Lord Hari. Then Lord Hari said that Vedic scholar, he will never come. He will come only after thousands and thousands of years to my planet, to my Vaikuntha planet. But this cobbler will come in this birth itself. So he went and told the Vedic Pandit, and Vedic Pandit got wild, and he was chasing Narada Muni, and he was about to handle him in a different manner. But Narada Muni went off and told the cobbler that, cobbler, you are going to Vaikuntha planet this birth itself. So from this we can understand that Lord Cobbler has a lot of faith and confidence in Hari's potency and in Hari's activities, which Hari's activities are Janma Karma Chame Divyam. It is not the ordinary activities. It is Janma Karma Chame Divyam. It is all divine activities. He can do anything if you want, if our Lord Hari wants. But Vedic scholar was not at all having any belief in and faith in Lord's activities. That is why he was not able to promote to this that planet. So like that we can see that the Vaishnavas always have the highest and the topmost position. They see or they understand or they visualize Supreme Personality of Godhead in the highest and topmost position. But whereas the impersonalists, they will not have any faith, or they will not only faith, they don't have faith that Krishna has a form. That is the particular issue. That is the particular weakness in their mind, because they concoct so many things. So, but the Vaishnavas intelligently understand there are many wonderful things far beyond our limited experience. See, if you happen to read Bhagavad Gita 15:19, Krishna says, Yomam evam asamuddo janati purushottamam sa sarvavid bhajati mam sarvabhavena bharata. So this verse says, whoever knows me as Supreme Personality of Godhead without doubting, it is knower of everything, and he therefore engages himself in full devotional service. So one should know that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. If one knows that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, that means he knows everything. There is no need to survey, there is no need to study, there is no need to put any endeavors for other things. If he knows that Krishna is Supreme Personality of God, then he knows everything. So then in this connection, Srila Prabhupada states there are many philosophical speculations about the constitutional position of living entities and the Supreme Absolute Truth. Now in this verse, the Supreme Personality of God clearly explains that. So this is the answer for all the impersonalists and the Mayavadis. This here in this verse, Krishna clearly says that if one believes that, if one has faith, or if one doesn't have any doubt in me that I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then he knows everything. There is no need to explain to him. There is no need to study any sort of complicated studies. You need not study anything which is complicated. So the imperfect knower goes on simply speculating about the absolute truth. But the perfect knower who knows that Krishna is Supreme Personality, he will not waste the time at all. Simply one should submissively hear from Bhagavad Gita that these living entities are always subordinate to the Supreme Personality of God. Anyone who is able to understand in this according to the Supreme Personality of God, Sri Krishna knows the purpose of the Vedas, no one else knows the purpose of the Vedas. Therefore, exalted devotees, as 9 Yogendras, always accept the supremacy of the Supreme Personality of God, as expressed here by the word Narayana Parayanaha. So one should know that one should read the Bhagavad Gita, verse 15:15, that Krishna Vedaisya Sarvam Ahameva Vedya. So in that Krishna says Matta Smriti Jnanam Apohanam Cha. And also Krishna resides in everybody's heart as Supreme Personality of God, as a Paramatma. So, and also he says Vedaisya Sarvam Ahameva Vedya. So Vedas, if you read the Vedas, if you study Vedas, one should know that he says for the purpose of reading Vedas is to know about me. Is to know about me. One should know about me. That is the purpose of the Vedas. Otherwise, there is no use in studying Vedas at all. So the purpose of the Vedas is to know about Krishna. So the exalted devotees such as Yogendras always accept the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as expressed here by the word Narayana Parayana. So Narayana Parayana means they are very close devotees, close and intimate devotees of Narayana. So King Nimi was a Vaishnava, and therefore he worshipped the great sages with the same respect which he would worship the Supreme Personality of God, and as shown by the word Yata Arhataha. Although implicit falsely claim that every living entity is equal to God, they cannot properly respect any living being because of their original offense of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So they don't have any Yata Arhataha. They don't have Arhata. So they don't have any qualification. They don't have any eligibility to know about the Supreme Personality of God, since they are offenders at the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of God, since they speculate about the Supreme Personality of God, since they give a lot of concoctions and they give a lot of mental speculations. That is why they will not be able to understand the Supreme Personality of God. Whereas Vaishnavas like Nimi Maharaj, they know that Vaishnavas are almost on par, or not on par. They are almost they are closely associated of the Supreme Personality of God, because all these Navayogendras understood that the intention of studying Vedas and the intention of preaching Vedas is to know about Him, is to spread about Him, and is to distribute His the glories of the Supreme Personality of God to each and everyone. So the Vaishnava, however, because he accepts the supremacy of the eternal personality of God, is ready and willing to offer eternal respect to all living entities, especially to those most fortunate living beings who have achieved the shelter and the lotus feet of the Lord. And the Vaishnava worship of Vaishnava worship of the Lord's representative is not self-serving or opportunistic. It is selfless service. The Vaishnava always worship the devotees of the Lord as selfless, not selfish. So that is very, very important. But it's an expression of eternal love for the Lord and His representatives. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Please like, subscribe and post comments. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Gaur Premanand.